to welcome all our distinguished dignitaries on behalf of the Golden Jubilee Biotech Park for Women Society, hosted by Ethiraj College for Women, to the 5th Annual Women in Biotech Conclave and Awards Function. May I now kindly request everyone to stand for Tamarthai Varth. I now request Chairman, Ethiraj College Trust, Mr. Muralidharan Sir, Principal and Secretary, Dr. S. Uma Gauri Ma'am, Professor P. M. Murali Sir, Chairman of Biotech Park, Dr. Sheila Sasikumar Ma'am, Dr. Mahendran Sir, to light the lamp. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We now invite Professor P. M. Murali, sir, Chairman of Biotech Park, to deliver the welcome address.
So, good afternoon or good evening to all of you. I'll do my welcome both in English and Tamil as much as possible so that everybody benefits. First of all, I am delighted to be in this 77-year-old college. This is spectacular. I mean, it has got a name of its own. I don't think they need any certification or endorsement from me. And I'm very, very grateful in the order of hierarchy, the chairman. He has been so kind enough to come today to be our guest of honor. Please give him a hand there. The principal has heard me before. Apparently, that's what she told me. And in spite of it, she has come again to hear me. So for her bravery, I would like to give her a round of applause as well. We have three amazing people here. All of them are known to me personally because I follow their work. I have been inspired by what they have been doing. With no specific order, on the left is Sharmila ji there. Next is Radha ji there. And that's Albina there. So all of them have come from different parts of India today and from yesterday. For the ladies who are here, I just wanted to give you a brief about the Biotech Park and then a little about the awards, and then I will leave the proceedings to the rest of the people. So the Biotech Park was started by none other than the Bharat Ratna of this country, Professor M.S. Swaminathan. Incidentally, this is his 100th year. We do have his daughter, Soumya Swaminathan, as one of our board of directors, and she is in the middle of the 100-year celebrations. I do know a few things about what's going to come in the next 2 weeks, but I can't make any of those announcements public. But there is going to be some wonderful celebrations that she is planning in Delhi for his 100th year. This was one of the most passionate projects that was started by him. And in fact, both his daughters have told me that it is going to be very, very difficult for me to live up to what he wanted to do with the park, but we are trying. I have one of the earliest persons who joined there during M.S. Swaminathan's time, Rajeshwari. She's also sitting here. So she started her work in a very small way, and now she's doing some wonderful work on the science, the biotech. I mean, as you know, these are all days for antibodies and biosimilars and CAR-T technologies and so on and so forth. So she's also one of those people who has been working here. So Professor Swaminathan set out to do this for a very simple reason. He wanted women to come into research, be the focus, and also grow out into manufacturing, grow out into their enterprise in the same facility. He wanted to do the research, then the part of process engineering, process development, and then to manufacture. That is how he started with this vision. Sometime in the late part of 2000, he decided that he will ask somebody from the industry to step in and take this over because it required a lot of funding and other sources that needed to come. That is how I succeeded him as the chair of the park. And government schemes, seed capital, we have fostered a lot of entrepreneurship, and there are quite a number of women entrepreneurs who are now doing work there. So this is an ongoing activity there. Somewhere in the middle of about 4 or 5 years ago, we decided we will institute an award that talks about the journey of a woman, especially Lifetime Achievement Award, and then the awards that will have some connotation with the type of achievements that they have really done in their life. Most of the people நாங்க செலக்ட் பண்ணது அத்தனை பேருமே ஒரு ஜூரி மூலமா வந்திருக்காங்க. அந்த ஜூரியே they are comprised of all the most eminent people who have accomplished in science. அவங்க தான் இந்த பேனலை சூஸ் பண்ணி கொண்டு வந்திருக்காங்க. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம கிட்ட 3 அவார்டீஸ் இருக்காங்க. 3 பேருமே ஒரு குணாதிசயங்கள் ஆர் 3 குணாதிசயங்கள் காட்டியிருக்காங்க. என்ன அப்படின்னா, they have demonstrated that as a woman they can stay focused for decades, work and achieve science, number 1. Number 2 is people like Sharmila have shattered the glass ceiling, which was a men's dominated area. So she is among the first to get to where she is. So அந்த மாதிரியும் there we have people there. We also have people who have worked in the industry, who have gone back to give a lot of impetus to the government machinery, like Radha, who is here. She herself has done quite a lot of work in the early days for her industry colleagues there. And then we have people working on cutting edge, new biology, as we call it, in terms of CAR-T technology and other things which are there. So the 3 primary areas that they have been focusing on, they have stayed very steady with their science. They have been brutally honest, and all the 3 women here have held science in the highest order in their life. They have not compromised. They have not done anything that will jeopardize their vision. And then they have broken the glass ceiling that men dominated world has been have been there for quite some time now. இந்த 3 பேரும் அவங்க they are going to give their work today. They are also going to talk about their science, and they are also going to receive the award. I'm very thankful to the chair because he is the one who is going to help us distribute the awards. And one of the things that all of you in this audience will be very happy to know is that in the biotech மட்டுமே இதை ரெகக்னைஸ் பண்ணி நாங்கள் எடுத்துட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்கோம். We are only doing this for the biotech community as a whole, and we are trying to see how women who do absolutely high quality science are people who are recognized year on year with this. So எங்களுடைய past awardees வந்து அவங்க டாக்டர் கிரண் மசும்தார் ஷா, அப்புறம் நம்ம பாரத் பயோடெக் உடைய சுசித்ரா எல்லா, டாக்டர் ரேணு ஸ்வரூப் ஃப்ரம் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் பயோடெக்னாலஜி, இந்த மாதிரி பெரிய ஆட்கள்லாம் இதில் they have been part of this. I am extremely pleased to welcome all of you, and also extremely happy and thankful to the management of this particular college. And I wish all the awardees a very, very useful evening, and also hope that this recognition is a stepping stone to something that they are planning to do much more. And thanks for seeing such lovely young faces here today. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking welcome address and enlightening us the remarkable achievements and journey of Biotech Park and sharing your wisdom for the future. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed chairman and principal by presenting a memento. I kindly request Professor P.M. Murli, sir, chairman of Biotech Park, to present the memento. May I now request Thiru V.M. Murlidharan, sir, chairman of Ethiraj College Trust, to receive the same. Now, I kindly request Dr. S. Uma Gauri ma'am, Principal of Ethiraj College, to receive the memento. I kindly request Professor Murli sir to do the honors. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. May I now request Thiru V.M. Muralidharan Sir, Chairman, Ethiraj College Trust, to deliver his address.
A very good afternoon to all of you. In fact, when our principal, Dr. Uma Gauri, had triggered this thought that the Golden Biotech Park wanted to have this event at our college, in a small chat, I could understand that they've been doing it elsewhere, but then this time they wanted to do it in our college. And in fact, I should thank Mr. Murli and the entire team of the Golden Biotech Park for thinking about having it in an institution, because I feel the messaging, the role models, the three fantastically great achieving ladies, that should go to the younger lot, which is much more important. And more importantly, I have felt that there's one more Muralidharan joining here, our auditor. So, and we have both our vice principals, Mrs. Beulah and Dr. Jayanti here. So, the foundation science in the அடித்தளமா இருக்கிற அந்த அறிவியல் வந்து very, very important. I did my engineering. ஆனால் பொறியியலே பார்த்தா அது வந்து அப்ளைடு சயின்ஸ் தான். இன்ஃபேக்ட் த ஃபவுண்டேஷன் சயின்ஸ் இன்னைக்கு வந்து நம்ம எது பார்த்தாலும் when we are having ஒரு மொபைல் ஃபோன் கையில் வச்சிருக்கோம்னா அதை நம்ம எல்லாருமே, நான் டெஃபினட்டா என்னோட மொபைல் ஃபோனை ஒரு 20 தடவை கீழே போட்டிருப்பேன். அதெல்லாம் தாங்கணும். It is not just the technology of calling that should take care of many things. Material is a very important factor, and that அது மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயமும் it is extremely important. அந்த மாதிரி பார்க்கும்போது around 25-30 years ago, very passionate people were involved in foundation sciences in our country, but it was fairly isolated. Science was there, but industry in India was not looking at that very seriously. And I'm saying that research was restricted to the campus, which was not transforming as a social impact. But some people, the three ladies here, I really appreciate you, because I think you have battled all those things and you have been doing great work. It's not so easy, but of late I am finding, after so many years, the foundation sciences are getting an attention. Partly, I think the digital era has helped us. A lot of information flow is across the globe. It is not like what happens abroad. In our industry, now I belong to the IT industry. Information used to be around at least 3 to 4 years behind. ஒரு கம்ப்யூட்டர் அங்கே லான்ச் பண்ணா 1982-83ல நம்ம கையில் அது வரும்போது 1986-87 இருக்கும். அதே மாதிரி கார் எல்லாமே வந்து what is launched there will come a little late, and same was holding good for knowledge. எனக்கு இன்னும் ஞாபகம் இருக்கு, விப்ரோல இருந்தப்போ ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ஃப்ளோர்ல வந்து what do you call, in our head office in Bangalore, somebody was saying அவர் தான் பாஸ்கல்ல எக்ஸ்பர்ட் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. ரொம்ப தெரியும். his name was கணபதி நாராயணா. he told me, அவன் தான் எக்ஸ்பர்ட் சொல்றாங்களே, ஏன் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா அந்த ஃபுல் கேட்ட, நீ தான் எக்ஸ்பர்ட்னு சொல்றாங்க பாஸ்கல்ல. பாஸ்கல் கம்பைலர் பத்தி ஒரு புக்கு தான் விப்ரோ ஆஃபீஸ்ல இருக்கு, அந்த ஒரு புக்கு எங்கிட்ட இருக்கு, அதனால நான் எக்ஸ்பர்ட். see the amount of gap. அப்படி இருந்தா எப்படி இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் ஃப்ளோ இருக்கும்? Today you just tap and you can get any information. That is one thing. Same way, if you do fantastic work here, anywhere else in the globe, it can reach immediately. And many things, I do not know if I look at it, achievements with engineering and technology, not just computer and coding. For example, our Chandrayaan and all these things. 500, 600 crore projects. An equivalent project by US or the Russian countries, it's costing around 17,000 crores. We are doing it at about probably not even 1/10, which means we have such involvement with the foundation sciences. We are able to have those type of equivalent stuff that we can do here and achieve results which are equal or better than the world. In fact, we reached the pole which was not reached earlier, Chandrayaan. How is it possible? It's possible because the DNA in us dates back to thousands of years, debatable, even mythology. Even mythology, when people were probably very creative and fantasizing, they could fantasizing about things which were not existing. When you look at it, many things were there, whether it's medicine, whether it is தமிழ்ல சொல்லலாம் விமானம்ன்றது எந்த காலத்துலயும் இருந்திருக்கு. அப்போ விமானம்னு ஒண்ணு பறக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறது அந்த காலத்துல இருந்ததா இல்லையோ mythology, somebody could think about it, imagine. So we have certain things in our DNA. Given the constitutional components, we know how to achieve results cost effectively with our creative intelligence. And in that context, I feel that this science is a fundamental fact. While we talk about always stuck in engineering, medical, chartered accountancy, all these things are great. I'll tell you, சாப்பாடு it is not just that. It's full of molecules. Somebody says that have this so that your body can be in best of shape. அதை யூஸ் பண்ணி தான் டாக்டர் சேஸ் இதை சாப்பிடுங்க இதுதான் நல்லதுன்னு சொல்லி. ஆனால் we need your contribution to achieve results. And in that context, I should say that I am very glad that the importance for foundation sciences coming up here. And the trigger தான் when Dr. Gumagavari told me that can we have it here, I said absolutely sure, we should have it here, because this message has to get across to the younger lot, all of you, to think and get into deeper aspects of the sciences and try to do something which is impactful in a day-to-day life. Whatever we do, இப்போ கையில் இருக்க மொபைல் டே டு டே லைஃப் யூஸ் பண்றோம், அது யாரோ எங்கேயோ டிசைன் பண்ண இன்ஜினியரிங் டெக்னாலஜி. அதே மாதிரி எவ்ரி திங், வெதர் இட் இஸ் இன்ஃபேக்ட் I should say with pride, one of the lifetime achievement awardees that they had honored, Suchitra Ella of Bharat Biotech, is from this institution. So somebody was sitting in this hall has reached there. So, and I'll tell you, Covaxin, with all what you call criticisms and other things, came out so fast. In fact, at the time when COVID hit us, I think that was not really in shape. But we had to come out fast, and probably in about 6 to 8 months, what normally takes a long time, they could conceive, they could test it in whichever form, come out with that, and they were criticizing that, and then they found that the efficacy was fantastic. It was very good in the global thing, and we started exporting. That's what is happening in our country. We can do it with science. And I feel that all of you, all these girls, young girls, can contribute in that exciting journey ahead. With digital technology, you can access all type of information. And one more thing I'm telling you, don't restrict your research work as a lab-related work. Think beyond. In fact, I think sciences offer a lot of scope for coming out with creative ideas which can be startups and which can actually get monetized. And I'm sure that we are going to launch an incubation center, and I wish and pray that you people come out with some brilliant ideas which can actually have a social impact, not restricted to the lab. It should actually reach the industry, and it should hit you and me and all of us in society. So fantastic event. Thank you very much for having it here, sir. And my congratulations to the 3 awardees and my best wishes all. Thank you. May God bless.
Under the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Radha Rangarajan ma'am has been at the forefront of translational research and product development for over 2 decades, with a special focus on antimicrobial resistance. Her distinguished career includes her tenure at Dr. Reddy's Laboratory, the co-founding of Vitas Pharma, and her leadership role as scientific officer and Chief Technology Officer at HealthTube, a company committed to affordable diagnostics. She has received several prestigious recognitions, including the Biotech Startup of the Year at the Bangalore Tech Summit in 2021, the FICCI Award of Excellence for Women in R&D in 2019, and the Discovery Award from the Longitude Prize Committee, United Kingdom in 2016. Dr. Radha Rangarajan ma'am also serves on several governing and advisory boards both in India and abroad, making notable contribution to the scientific ecosystem. Ma'am holds a bachelor degree in biology from Stanford University and a PhD from the Rockefeller University, followed by postdoctoral research at the Harvard School of Public Health. We are very happy to announce that the Excellence in Leadership of Women in Science Year 2025 award goes to Dr. Radha Rangarajan ma'am, Director of CSIR Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow. Please join me in congratulating her. I now kindly request Through V.M. Muralidharan Sir, Ethiraj College Trust, to present the award to Dr. Radha Rangarajan ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. Radha Rangarajan ma'am to address the gathering.
Honorable Chairman of the Ethiraj Trust, Shri Muralidharan, Principal of Ethiraj College, Madam Uma Gauri, Chairman of the Golden Jubilee Biotech Park, and dear friend, Professor P. M. Murali, faculty and staff of Ethiraj College, entrepreneurs of the Golden Jubilee Biotech Park, and my dear students. I'm deeply, deeply honored to be here and to receive this award in recognition of the work I have done. And I hope through my presentation today, I'll give you a flavor of the kinds of things that I have undertaken during my 20 odd years of my career, and the reasons and the ways in which my career took twists and turns. Hopefully, you learn from this, from seeing examples that there is no one straight road to getting to where you want to go. There are many forks in the road, and you have to pick, you have to choose, you have to tread your own path.
Check.
May I have my presentation, please? Please go to the next slide. Can I change slides? Can I have a clicker? You will change. First, my heartfelt gratitude to the Golden Jubilee Biotech Park for Women, to the selection committee in particular for selecting me to receive this honor here today. It is indeed not only something that I'm going to cherish for the years to come, but it also means a lot to me because I have had an unconventional career path, and I'll tell you in what way. Please go to the next one. I have had many different roles in my career. I've been a scientist at heart. I have been an entrepreneur. I've done academic research. I've done R&D in industry. I worked in the area of drugs, diagnostics, and medical devices. I have been driven by public health interests and have believed ultimately that my work should have some value and should have some relevance to the world at large. Next slide, please. As you heard, my early training was largely abroad. As I was finishing class 12, I was very interested in basic sciences. And at that time, this is 1988, if you chose basic sciences, it means that you were a failure of some sort or a loser because you wouldn't get into engineering college or medicine, and therefore you wanted to go study basic science. But I actually wanted to study basic science, and I wanted to do research. I decided to find a different way. I went to the US to Stanford University, where I did my bachelor's degree in biology with honors. And while I was a senior at Stanford, I became very interested in neuroscience. In fact, my undergraduate senior thesis was about circadian rhythms. So this is a very interesting phenomenon in our body where everything that we do is driven by a certain internal clock, which we call a circadian rhythm, which is why we are able to wake up and sleep at more or less the same time every day. And many, many biological processes in the body are driven by these circadian clocks. And while doing research as an undergraduate, I uncovered a crucial role for chloride channels in the suprachiasmatic nuclei, which is a part of the brain which controls circadian rhythms. While it was a fantastic journey in science, I asked myself if I wanted to do basic science or wanted to do something else in life. So then I took a gap year and I came back to India and I worked for a women's organization in Delhi called Action India. They worked with women in slums across Delhi, and they through community groups, were providing women with the tools to help address health issues. This was a time when, regardless of what complaint a woman went to a government hospital to, it was immediately considered, they were immediately considered for whether they required contraception and other reproductive health related medication. So these community groups were really trying to empower women to take control of their own lives and to live healthier lives. I did that for a year and decided that I wanted to go back to basic science. So I went back to the US, did a master's and then a PhD. My PhD was in neurobiology. Using the fly as a model system, I was trying to understand how the eye in the fly gets wired to the optic lobe in the brain of the fly. So this is a very interesting problem that you can think about even in the human context. You know, why is the eye able to see and a ear able to hear? It's because they are connected in the brain to the appropriate parts. And how is it that in every embryo system, this kind of connectivity happens without error? So this is the problem statement which I explored using a fly model. But as I was finishing my PhD, I asked myself the question, well, so what comes out of this work? And then I said to myself, okay, what is really fundamental to the fly is probably fundamental to many other complex systems, including humans. But any application of this work is many, many decades away. And that wasn't satisfying to me. So I asked myself, what do I want to do next? So I made a switch and I moved into infectious diseases. And I went to the Harvard School of Public Health to do postdoctoral work in malaria. Next slide, please. Malaria was and is still a major public health concern, and there was a growing need to understand not just how to stop malaria, that means new drugs for malaria, but there is another interesting part to the malaria parasite, which is that it transmits from the human host to the mosquito, and then the cycle continues. And I was interested in looking at how one can stop this transmission. My work, which involved knocking out multiple genes, but one of the genes that I knocked out was a mitogen-activated protein kinase, a MAP kinase. And when you knock out that gene in the Plasmodium parasite, they cannot transmit anymore. So when they cannot transmit anymore, you can actually begin to see that this could lead to an application where transmission in a community goes down, and thereby you can start to eradicate the disease. Well, even sitting right there in Harvard School of Public Health in the middle of Boston, there were no real tools by which to take this. Can you go to the next slide, please? By which to take this finding from research into a solution. This is what we call translational research. Basic finding, basic research being converted into some sort of a product or an intervention. So the question was, how do you stop transmission? I had some answer coming out of research, but no idea how to convert it into an intervention. And I said, this is not good enough. I want to know how to convert basic research findings into products, and I want to learn how to make drugs. Next slide, please. So simultaneously with coming back to India, my husband and I, and my daughter, the first one, I moved to industry. I went to work at Dr. Reddy's laboratories. There was a thriving drug discovery division within the company. And I worked in multiple therapeutic areas, but eventually I chose and I began to develop expertise in antibacterial drug discovery. Not malaria, because nobody was interested in working on malaria drugs, but antibacterial drug discovery became my new passion. And antibiotics became the area or the field that I chose to dedicate the rest of my life to. This is also the time when I had two young children, battled with balancing a career and a home. There was no creche at Dr. Reddy's at that time. It was brutal. So one of the side stories was that a group of us started a creche while we were at Dr. Reddy's, and it became, again, a lifelong commitment to young women researchers that in institutions that I worked with, I tried to find ways to ensure childcare, because that became, to me, the single most important resource to give women in order for them to stay in the workforce. Next slide, please. So the birth of Vitas Pharma, I left Dr. Reddy's at the end of 2009. They had their business model changed. They were no longer going to work in drug discovery. And I decided that it was time to take a leap of faith and start a company of my own. It was unheard of in India at that time for people from the sciences with no background in business, with no family backing them, to start a company, and that too in something as difficult as drug discovery. But I was driven by the larger unmet need. There are about 4.95 million infection-related deaths globally, about 1.25 million deaths directly attributed to resistant infections that cannot be cured because existing antibiotics are not good enough. So Vitas Pharma was founded in 2011. We worked on multiple classes, novel classes of antibiotics. Next slide, please. So our platform was that we were looking for novel antibiotics which were which would overcome existing resistance. So all of you know that 20 years ago, we could use amoxicillin very easily, we could use erythromycin very easily, but today there's drug resistance. So the question was, how can you identify completely novel classes that the bugs have never seen before, so there's no existing resistance? So we had a very structured approach, which involved using computational tools, screening in antimicrobial assays, followed by testing in animal models. Next slide, please. And we eventually had three programs in which we had very active research. We identified 2 lead optimized candidates that became that were ready for IND enabling studies. We did safety testing. We had also an early stage program that was positioned for complicated UTI. So we put together this very extensive portfolio of compounds, preclinical stage compounds. Some of the highlights were in 2017 being selected as in the Champions of Change program of Prime Minister Modi. So that's the picture there. And then the Longitude Prize Committee awarding us the Discovery Award in 2019. Next slide, please. While we were working on drugs, new antibiotics, we realized that one of the big problems with antibiotics is that they get prescribed unnecessarily and inappropriately. So we decided to work on companion diagnostics, and we had LAMP-based rapid diagnostics, 2 of them. One was to detect bacteria directly from patient samples, so there would be no culture involved. And the next slide. And another one, which was to identify the type of drug resistance, which is, so the point was that last line antibiotics like carbapenems are difficult, are prescribed without knowing whether there is carbapenem resistance or not. So we developed a rapid test for that. And we did a multi-centric clinical trial with 5 centers using the test, and we compared the results with PCR. So all this to say that we set up a company, we had assets, we had patents, we raised investment, both public and private. We had grants from BIRAC, from Wellcome Trust. In fact, our story mirrored very closely with the story of BIRAC. And almost every new scheme, every new grant scheme that came, we were usually the first people to apply. And then in 2019, we sold the company because drug discovery and development is complex and requires huge amount of investment. We sold it to a UK-based company to take the compounds forward. Next slide. As I was figuring out what to do next, I was approached by this medical devices company called HealthCube. They had developed a compact device, which is only 1 kg in size. It does not require power. It's run by a battery. It's operated using an app on the phone, and this does multiple tests, 15 to 20 tests all on one box using. So it's a combination of being able to do a 12-lead ECG, BP measurement, oxygen saturation, measuring blood glucose, cholesterol, uric acid, hemoglobin, and being able to read rapid diagnostic tests. So we put together this device. While I was Chief Scientific Officer there, we were able to get CE approval, CDSCO approval. We put 800 devices in the market and filed Indian patents. And of course, it was a great journey because it was very, very close to my heart, directly working at the interface of public health. While I was progressing in this journey, I had an amazing opportunity, next slide please, to join the Central Drug Research Institute at Lucknow. This was September 2022, where I am currently. Our vision is to drive the discovery and development of cutting-edge and affordable healthcare technologies, which includes drugs, diagnostics, and process technologies to enable affordable manufacturing. Next slide, please. So the institution is 75 years old, and it is an honor for me to be there. There are 13 drugs that the institution has developed all the way to market. And in fact, this is something that most people don't know about. Our best known drug is an oral contraceptive called Saheli, Sencroman, ormeloxifene, as it is known by its chemical name. It's a once weekly oral drug. It's a selective estrogen receptor modulator. Um, it never went outside of India. Its user base is small, but it's a very safe drug. It's been in the market since 1992, developed from scratch at CDRI and taken to market. There's also alpha beta artether, which is a parenteral formulation for malaria. It's sold in more than 20 countries. So like this, we've had several success stories. The question is always, how do you make success a repeatable and consistent aspect of the institution? And how do you retain standards even as the institution changes, even as the world changes? Next slide, please. And so we have a very nice pipeline of drugs which are targeting cancer, malaria, neuropathic pain, and we've also more recently licensed compounds to companies like Cipla. We have also formulation-driven innovation, which means you're not discovering a new drug, you're putting together existing drugs and delivering them differently. So, for example, dry powder formulation of rifabutin and isoniazid for TB. Next slide, please. So my goal at CDRI is to strengthen our research capabilities, both in basic and translational research, and create a continuous flow of compounds so that our pipeline remains robust. It is to ensure that the progression of these compounds in the pipeline is sustained, not that we start something today and stop it tomorrow. How can we ensure that there is a sustained process of R&D? And my third goal is to build collaborations with academia, industry, and startups, clinical research centers, so that we take CDRI to the world and the world comes to CDRI. Ultimately, our goal is to have a strong translational pipeline of drugs, diagnostics, and process technologies. So we need a system, an ecosystem that enables, which means we need researchers, we need funding, we need startups and pharma companies. All of these have to work together. And of course, we welcome collaborations. And madam, I would be very happy to have collaboration with Ethiraj College, with students, anyone here who wishes to come and do any kind of project with us. We will put an MOU in place to do that. Next slide, please. And so, since this award has been given to me for leadership excellence, I will share 3 points from my own life that I hold dear. One is, it's very important to have clarity of vision and purpose. Whether you're a company, you're a startup, you're a researcher, you're in the lab, you're a director, whatever it is, clarity of vision and purpose, that takes you very far. At any given time, your goal must be clear. You may be wrong about it. Correct it. It's a living document for yourself, but that clarity is very important. You have to build strong, cohesive teams. Individuals rarely achieve glory, right? It's an exceptional thing, but teams can succeed. And how do you build teams? You need to build trust. There must be compassion and there must be gratitude. These 3 things are core aspects of building teams. And the third thing is that decision-making must be data-driven and evidence-based to remove the perception of bias. This is one of the most fundamental aspects of leadership. So I leave you with these 3 learning lessons from my life. Once again, thank you very much for the award.
Thank you, ma'am, for enriching us with your inestimable treasure of experiences. It has truly inspired us, ma'am. Now, I have great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Sharmila Bapat, ma'am, a distinguished cancer biologist and institutional leader with over 3 decades of impactful contributions to translational oncology research. She is currently the director of the National Center for Cell Science, Pune, where she leads national initiatives in cancer biology, bioengineering, and precision medicine. Dr. Bapat's groundbreaking research has significantly advanced our understanding of cancer stem cells, tumor plasticity, therapy resistance, and biomarker development. Her remarkable achievements have been recognized through numerous prestigious honors, including the Lifetime Achievement Award by Golden Jubilee Biotech Park, the MGDO Oration Award by the Indian Association for Cancer Research, the Tata Innovation Fellowship Award. Dr. Bapat continues to serve as a mentor to numerous PhD scholars and postdoctoral researchers, and she plays a vital role in national research consortia and biocluster. I take the privilege to announce the Lifetime Achievement Award of the year 2025, which goes to Dr. Sharmila Bapat, Director of National Center for Cell Science, Pune. I kindly request Thru V.M. Muralidharan sir to present the award to Dr. Sharmila Bapat, ma'am.
Everybody get down, gonna get down.
We are very eager to listen to your insightful thoughts. Please, ma'am.
It's really a very humbling experience to be here today in front of so many dignitaries and people who are genuinely happy for me. And I think it's the science that speaks for itself, hopefully. And I actually thought about what I should be talking about because I have often seen that there are students who are very interested in what a scientist like myself would want to say to an audience. But very often, they have more information about biotech than I do because cancer stem cells is something that they know about. And again, it's just a repetition of what I've done. Most of the students have already read about it, and then there's nothing more for us to say. Of course, then we explore several other avenues. We become creative, as our chairperson had said earlier, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'm really actually testing out this audience for a different type of a talk to altogether, which I've never given in my life. So may I have my presentation, please? No, the presentation? Yes, thank you. So I come from an institute that is funded by the Department of Biotechnology and is based in Pune, called as the National Center for Cell Science. So this is a 37-year-old institute, and it was established essentially as a cell repository. Most of the cell biology work that was done in India at that time relied on very selective, literally a handful of cell lines, and there was really not much depth to the research that was being achieved. So our founder director, Dr. Wag, established this as a repository of cell lines, which are now, even today, being distributed all over the country and has facilitated cell biology research in the country. Next slide, please. Along with being a repository, we do fundamental research in cell biology in several aspects. Of course, in very fundamental cell biology, in cancer biology, in regenerative medicine, stem cells actually was one of the first departments that was established in our institute. Infectious diseases, immunology, we keep on adding. Since we are a 37-year-old institute, we keep on keeping ourselves at the cutting edge of research, and we keep on adding new aspects. So we have genomics, proteomics, you name it, and I think we have at least one faculty doing something or the other on that. Anything in biotechnology and relevant to human healthcare, of course. Our technical strengths actually come from these faculty who are trained in different areas of research. And over the years, we've also built up another repository that is of microbial cells. Now, this really has been a huge achievement. And today we have about 200,000 microbial strains that are collected from different ecosystems in the country. So over the years, our essentially our recognition comes from the fundamental research that we've done. We have the best publications in the country, probably in some of the top-notch journals in biotechnology. Next slide, please. So we started thinking that now that we are known as a R&D hub, yet I think the real strength of our institute comes from our holdings in terms of the repositories that we have. How can we reinvent ourselves as an institution? And that was the opportunity I've been able to, that was an opportunity that I got. So I would just like to tell you, I have just one slide on that. Next slide, please. So we are now rediscovering ourselves as an innovation hub. Next slide, please. And we are trying to align ourselves into getting into bioengineering and biomanufacturing. You must have heard that our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, last year announced the Bio E3 policy, which is about the economy, biotechnology for the economy, environment, and employment. So we thought we should align ourselves to make these three facts available to all the biotechnology or stakeholders in biotechnology. And to this end, next slide, please. We are now setting up a bioengineering research center of the National Center for Cell Sciences. So this is a new type of a concept that will be focused on synthetic biology and its applications towards finding several solutions that are required in healthcare. So be it in the form of, and we have 4 verticals for this. So if you see this, we have the microbial biofoundry, which will be based on, or which will draw its strengths, and it will be developed using the collections that we have in terms of microbial strains. We have the mammalian biofoundry as another vertical in this center, which will be focused on the mammalian cell cultures. A unique thing that we are trying to do is that we have a third vertical that will try to make a module for supporting scale-up efforts in the country. Now, one of the problems in R&D or several R&D labs face is that even if they have a discovery, scaling it up to make to a level where it can be manufactured is really a very challenging effort. And there's something called as a valley of death. So whether out of say several millions of molecules that are actually discovered, there are literally maybe a handful of those that are likely to be very useful. So we thought we'll step in and take some of this risk off the hands of other researchers. If they have discoveries, we can take them ahead and try to help them do a bit of hand-holding, do a bit of co-development along with them to a stage where they may really be able to consider whether it is worth going ahead with it or drop that and move on to other screenings. So that is the third vertical. And the fourth vertical is something that we really are excited about. We call it Cell Design Studio. And that is where our creativity, I think the point that was made earlier about creativity being very important in science is really truly the need of the hour. And that is something we have in our fourth vertical, where we hope to inspire, to have students come in, to have industries come in and think about what can be done, which is not there today. So one thing is that can we make synthetic cells? We are in the area of synthetic biology. Who knows about synthetic biology in the country better than us? So how do you make a synthetic cell? Can you really make a synthetic cell? There are efforts which have been done globally, and people are thinking about what is the basic minimal DNA content that is required, what are the minimal supporting processes, pathways that are required to sustain that. So these are the type of projects that we hope to have in our fourth vertical. And I think the success of this will be defined by the people who we can reach out to come up with crazy ideas maybe, but something that can have some kind of a future later on. So this is something that is really close to my heart and which we are developing right now. Next slide, please. Now, actually, when I start talking of our institute, I can go on forever. I think all the 20 minutes I could have talked about the institute. But realizing that this was an award that I have received for being a woman, I thought I could probably share some of the things that inspired me, and I hope that might be actually useful for someone in the future as well. So it was maybe in the late 1990s when Professor Amartya Sen, who's a Nobel awardee for economics, he actually has talked about missing women. So this concept of missing women actually relates to the women in a population and those who are actually just visible. I mean, in terms of their survival also, survival, infanticide, and so on and so forth, but also about the number of women in the workforce. Next slide, please. So that set of me thinking, and I started thinking more about it, and I found several other like-minded people. So what I realized is that gender inequality, which was something that a lot of people were talking of in the 1990s, was not something that existed earlier in India. You have the 12th century treatise called as Leelavati. I hope some of you have heard of it, which was written by a very famous mathematician, Bhaskaracharya, who taught his daughter mathematics. And mathematics, believe me, is one of the areas wherein women are even today hesitant to get into. So he taught Leelavati simple procedures of maths and very complex equations as well, using day-to-day incidents or things. So, for example, if I remember right, I don't have it up here, but there was something about a necklace of pearls which just broke, and suppose you found only you were 4 short of the original length, then what would the length of the shortened necklace be? Or things like that. So it was really about how to creatively engage a younger child into thinking about maths. Next slide, please. So I think based on this, a friend of mine, Dr. Rohini Godbole, I don't know if you've heard of her, she was a very famous physicist who just passed away, unfortunately, last October. And she was a very strong proponent of women's rights, women, visibility in science and commitment in science. She very strongly supported these causes. So she and Dr. Ramaswamy, they actually together wrote a book on some of the women scientists in India. And this was very aptly titled as Leelavati's Daughters. So I'm going to share only two. I would really, anyone who's really interested in finding out more about science and how, people stay committed to science, one should go and read this book. It is freely available on the web. So I'll just cite two instances from this book. Next slide, please. The first is of Anandibai Joshi. She also comes from Pune. She was she was married off at the age of 13. And after losing a child during childbirth, she actually went on to become the first doctor in India. So she went to the US for her medical education. She came back, and unfortunately, she passed away at the age of 22 or 23 due to TB. But, at her convocation in the US, when she announced that I'm the first doctor, the first woman doctor of India, she received a standing ovation. And that was something really amazing to hear about. And that was inspiring for me. I know some of the descendants of that family in Pune, and the way they talk about her even today, this is how many, 4, 5, 6 generations beyond them. And it's really amazing to know how proud they are of her. Next slide, please. The second example I thought I'll cite to you is of Dr. Kamla Soni, who came from a very educated family herself. And after her graduation, she actually wanted to go in for a PhD. So she approached Indian Institute of Sciences, and she was refused to be taken in as a PhD scholar. And the reason being that she was a woman. It seemed that at that point of time, a PhD degree could be undertaken only by um, male candidates. So what she did was that she had a satyagraha in front of the principal's office, the president's office, who was no less than C.V. Raman, Professor C.V. Raman. And she forced him so that he had to admit her into a PhD program. And that was something she went on to complete her PhD within 4 years, and she became the first Indian woman to get a PhD in India. So that is something that was really remarkable to even read about. Next slide, please. Of course, we have so many other trailblazers in biotech. In the field of biotechnology, I think I would run out of time definitely to talk about all of them. But these are some of the others which have inspired me. And out of these, Rosalind Franklin is someone who's really close to my heart. She was the one who actually had the first inkling that the DNA molecule could be a double-stranded helical structure. So it was her famous photograph 51. You know, it was an X-ray crystallography image of what the DNA structure could look like. So it looks like a series of dots in a circle, which if you superimpose, actually revealed that DNA could be double helical in nature. And surprisingly, I've read her biography. There's a wonderful biography out there. It's an entire book. But in that, you know, she just handed it over to James Watson. And James Watson, of course, Watson and Crick were already onto a lot of, they themselves were taking a lot of efforts to try to resolve the structure. But the minute he saw it, it seems it was very apparent to her. Although it was not so apparent to her, she found that she was too self-critical probably. She saw all the doubts that any kind of a critic would see before she resolved the whole thing. So she was not very confident of it. They went ahead and got the credit for the structure of DNA, but she got left behind. Now, again, it was very unfortunate that she passed away with ovarian cancer. And that actually drew me to her because my entire career has been focused on ovarian cancer. I was the first researcher in India to start a group working on ovarian cancer alone because it is an aggressive disease. And even clinically, even today actually, there are very few really solutions for that except for a subtype of ovarian cancer. So I felt that if I was to spend so much of my entire career in a certain field, it had better be something that I would find some solutions towards. So that is why, I mean, I felt that Rosalind Franklin is someone I really would have wanted to help at that time. And of course, you have Jennifer Doudna and Catalin Carrico. If you read about their lives, their challenges that they have faced, it's really amazing and really inspiring about how they have gone on to even receive the Nobel Prizes that they did. Both of them are Nobel Prize awardees. Next slide, please. So, okay, when we talk about gender inequality, what do we really mean? The opportunity inequality I will talk about later, but there are several other features I think we could actually talk about. There are variations among scientific disciplines. For example, as I said, maths is something you have very few women in. And, you know, apart from that, you have physics and engineering. Of course, engineering now you have a large number of women going in for that discipline, but earlier it was not so. And the secondly, something that I definitely do think that is very important is contribution to decision making. It's actually it's a conundrum. Women are supposed to talk a lot, isn't it? I mean, that is what a general concept in the population is, that women talk a lot. But when it comes to looking at taking or considering their opinions and whether a decision can actually be made on that, very few women are really respected from that point of view. And I think that is something that has a deeper implication for the future than any of the other things. And of course, health and social status correlations. Well, there are let's say the jury is divided on that. Today, I don't think people really worry about that too much because there are so many policies coming in and supporting, as Dr. Radha also mentioned. There are policies that are coming in. And in fact, that is what I'd like to go to in the next slide, probably. Oh no, one slide before that is something. When I was just incidentally glancing through some of the journals for something else, I stumbled upon this study that was done by Yale, and it was a very interesting study. Uh, they had actually a group of 127 professors divided into two groups, and both these groups were given two different types of applications to scrutinize. One group got only the applications from women candidates, one got from male candidates. And then, of course, there was a very well set scoring system which was to be applied to both of these groups. What they found is that the male applicants invariably received higher competency scores, more job offerings, less mentoring time, which is a standard procedure in the US system, faculty system, and average salaries that were much higher than those that were prescribed for the women candidates. So this was very surprising. In fact, that this study was published in PNAS, which is a well-reputed journal, and it actually has a lot of graphs, a lot of analysis, the some which totally come to this conclusion. And that was surprising. We are talking of US as a liberated or a very well-developed nation where all our PhD students go for their postdocs. And this is what probably is the reality over there. Next slide, please. On the other hand, I think that I'm going to make a case why we in India as women are much better off. At the time of independence, it was Sarojini Naidu and Edwina Mountbatten who actually had put down this requirement that women in any women employed in the government sector should be paid the same amount at that level as any male counterpart. And I think that was a foresight which actually supports us. What does this really mean? Suppose there's a position for in any, say in my research institute, there's a position for scientist C, suppose. Irrespective of whether a woman candidate is going to be recruited or a male candidate, the level and the financial commitment for that particular position will be the same. And this is a huge difference, I thought, between India and US. And again, there are so many more policies coming in. The creches that are there in the now, actually, they are in all institutes. They're then in government offices, even in the industry. So I think there is a lot of support for women to come into the workforce today than there was much earlier. And we do indeed see a lot of women who really take up the challenge. Next slide, please. And of course, I was just going through some of the BIRAC statistics, but it really does seem that BIRAC has actually supported at least 29%. This was in 2023 data that I could find. 29% is a large number of women to take a risk and put in their whole commitment towards a startup. And that is really another heartening feature, one could say. Similarly, women-led startups secured 15% of biotech venture funding globally. This was again another piece of statistics that I could find out. And of course, most of the women who have been interviewed for their such type of initiatives have always said that what is it that they really value is mentorship, access to funding, and incubator support. And that is why I think I must laud the Golden Jubilee. Now I'm running out of my memory. Golden Jubilee Biotechnology Park for the efforts that they have taken. And I think it's a terrific initiative which is going to support women in India further. Next slide, please. So I think the last thing I have to say to all of you is, if as a woman, one had to take any type of a perspective, I think one has to drive progress with creativity. And I was really happy to hear about creativity early on, and as someone who actually echoes the same thoughts that I have towards further developments in science. So that is very important. And I think that is actually something very important for women, because in my opinion, women are definitely more creative than men. I may be biased in saying so, but I can definitely say here where women are in the majority. Another thing is, what is most important is your own internal resilience. Unless you are resilient, unless you can face challenges on, of course, not necessarily in a headstrong way, but in a very fair manner, and learn from from your successes as well as your failures, you would never recover from your setbacks. And that is very important in a career wherein you have so many challenges in terms of family commitments, personal commitments. And I think these are the commitments that even men have. One should actually try to learn how they overcome those type of commitments, and see whether you can inculcate their strengths in your mindset of thinking. There is also the stereotype type of a thing that I feel that should be tackled in society, because all said and done, unless we mediate some kind of a change in society, uh, things will never change. So, for example, a stereotypic mindset is one that, okay, if there is a construction going on, no woman can really contribute to it. So I have faced this when I'm making my new center right now, wherein some of the people come and tell me, madam, you don't get into all those things, we'll take care of it, you do your work in your office. I say, why? That's a center that is something to be developed by the institute, and if I'm the director, I'm going to be responsible for it. So I had better know what is happening there rather than sitting in my office. So these are the type of stereotypes. But there is acceptance at the end of the day, and that is definitely more fulfilling. And lastly, and most importantly, I think I'm a champion of DEI, that is diversity, equity, and inclusivity. So I hope these are just my thoughts. I hope there's not too much of a generation gap between myself and all the young girls sitting here, that to convince you that yes, it can be done, but you just have to take the first step ahead. Thank you for such a patient hearing.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us. Cancer continues to pose one of the greatest challenges to humanity, impacting countless lives across the globe. But this evening, we are privileged to have among us a remarkable individual who has taken this challenge head on and made laudable achievements in the field of cancer research and drug development. It is now time to introduce Dr. Albina Nizam, ma'am, Senior Lead R&D and CMC at the Advanced Center for Treatment, Research and Education in Cancer, Mumbai. Dr. Nizar has been instrumental in bridging research and clinical translation in oncology. Her pioneering work spans drug discovery, clinical development, and regulatory affairs with a focus on precision oncology and targeted therapeutics. With her relentless commitment to innovation and patient-centric solution, she continues to drive impactful outcomes in cancer treatment and care. We are very glad to announce that the Women Scientist of the Year 2025 award goes to Dr. Albina Nazar, Senior Lead R&D and CMC, Mumbai. Now, I kindly request all the awardees to join the dais for the group photo with the Chairman and Principal of Ethiraj College, Chairman of Biotech Park, and the jury members, Dr. Sheila Sasikumar ma'am, Dr. Mahendran sir, and Dr. Sriram sir.
Entrepreneurs from the Women's Biotech Park also kindly stand up and identify yourself, please. So that I would request you to come here for a photograph, please. Yeah, whoever is there from the Women's Biotech Park. So, ladies who are here, these are also the other extraordinary women who have done their enterprise there and who have done it. Vanga ma, mela vanga, come.
I'm not so comfortable with the hand mic. Yeah. Um, am I audible to everybody? Yeah, I think so. So, first of all, Honorable Chairperson, the Chairman of the Ethiraj Trust, all the dignitaries, the Vice Principal, the Principal, all the dignitaries in the House, Dr. Radha Ma'am, Dr. Sharmila Ma'am, and of course, Professor Murli Sir. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm full of gratitude and humbled. And in a way, I don't have a clue why am I here and why am I getting this award, because the last 8 years have probably sailed for me, and I've not registered the whole concept of what we've done in CAR T cell therapy, because it's all been research and work. And honestly, if you ask me, I have no clue how my daughter actually uh, grew up from 3 years to now she's 10. So last 7 years, I probably have not registered that 7 years have passed. So I have the slides, but before I talk about, we all know what, CAR T is the buzzword right now globally, and more so now in India now, because we have a cutting edge therapy, which is a curative form of therapy, which is able to treat the patients now. And we just completed, I think, around 350 patients this year. Immunovac, which is the commercial company,
Indian Institute of Technology, Bioengineering, and Immunovac, the commercial company. So 350 patients who early, let's say 2 years before, did not have a survival chance, and now they have an opportunity to live, and at least we have seen good overall survival in some of the patients. But I want to talk about a little different from TQ, because all my dear colleagues here, young female students, scientists, I just want to take you on a different direction and probably give you an insight into my personal experience, which I've never shared publicly, but I think this is the right platform to share it. So when I say I moved into cell therapy 7 years back, it was exactly 7 years before where I had decided that I want to take a break from science, I want to take a break from research and switch completely to management. So I completed my graduate, which is my PhD program and postdoc, and I was at the peak of my career. I got married, had a baby, and then I decided to take a maternity break. And during maternity break, while I was looking for options coming back to work, I realized there was nothing in India which was really exciting for me, and also going through a certain personal, trouble at that time. I just felt that there's really nothing which is exciting for me in India. This is the right time to make a switch in a career and probably move to management. And then randomly, when I was relocating, like moving towards to immigration to Canada, and all those procedures were all done, I just by chance happened to have this interaction in a conference, which also I attended by chance only, with Dr. Gaurav, who is one of the pioneers of CAR T cell therapy. And I think after a very long time, very excited about something, and it was not an FDA approval at that time. Okay. Okay. So we didn't interact much, but I was fascinated by the way they were trying to make a transformation in patient's life, and I was kind of awestruck, and I decided to meet him, but I couldn't. And then I met him again in a different occasion, but for a very different position, which was not even my position. Long story short, and he ended up hiring me, but I told him, Claire, I'm going to stay only for 3 months because I'm going to move to Canada. 3 months in 2018, and now I'm in 2025. I've not moved to Canada. I've not moved out of Fat Track. I've not moved out of CAR T and cell therapy. So I think what made a change in my decision was that I found what I really loved doing was helping patients and making a change through research in cancer, which also was a personal concern for me, because having lost my dad to cancer, it really made a difference in my life to be working on something which was actually going to make a difference, which was making a difference in US. So the moral of the story here, which I want to share with you, is if you believe in something, if you feel something is very close to your heart, please pursue that. It doesn't really matter whether you're wrong, whether you're right, or even if it's like the most stupid thing on the surface of the earth. It really does not matter. What matters is that you believe in it and you want to pursue it. And what will happen? Worst come worst, you will fail, and then you will have an SOP how to overcome that failure, which is a very big life lesson. So with that, I want to walk you through the journey that we had for CAR T cells. So I'm not going to make it more scientific, and I'm trying to keep it simple in the interest of time. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is how cell therapy or CAR T cell therapy globally looks right now. We have more than around 4,367 cellular therapies approved globally, but out of which there are only two current FDA DCGI approvals in India, and there are multiple cell therapy companies which are coming up. But then we're still at a very large gap compared to global platforms in terms of what we need to do in cell therapy. The next slide, please. Of course, we all know Carl June, who first developed the CAR T cell therapy, and he is on his race to Nobel Prize also for similar other forms of cell therapy. He's also working on, apart from CAR T, now in HIV cancer, which is another form which I want to share with the young students here, that cell therapy or CAR T cell therapy is not limited to just cancer. When you think about CAR T, you resonate it with cancer, but there are so many other cell therapy forms now where CAR T is used and is probably going to be approved in the next 3-4 years. Autoimmune diseases, HIV. So next slide, please. So this is a picture which is very close to my heart. If you see in the middle, there is Dr. Gaurav and Dr. Rahul, and that's the first infusion of the patient happening. The first infusion in 2021, and this was a very overwhelming day for me personally, because after a lot of risk taking, sacrifice on publications, on hard deliverables in research, which both my seniors here would know are so important in while working in academics. But the first glimpse of that patient getting that infusion made all the hard work of the previous 4 years really worth it. No publication or patent or any kind of deliverable would give me the same amount of satisfaction as it was on 4th June 2021 when we infused the first patient. Next slide, please. And like, as I said, now India is on the CAR T map, as we see. As you can see now, we have at least 3 products. There's a very small, minute dots there in Mumbai, so you're not able to see it. But like I said, we still have to do a lot of catching up. Next slide, please. So, yeah, this should be fine. So here I'm going to talk about now our lab, which is a CAR T and cell therapy center, which is in Tata Memorial Center at TRAC. Next slide. So we have broadly 2 different verticals. We have research and development vertical, and then we have a clinical vertical. And I'll probably come to this slide towards the end again. So this is a journey which I want to walk you through. So we always say that we should go into an area where you have a certain amount of expertise, or when somebody hires you, they hire you for a certain amount of expertise. I was a basic immunologist, had love of immunology and T cells, which was because I was hired by that committee, which includes Dr. Gaurav. And I knew nothing about cell therapy. I knew nothing about GMP manufacturing. I knew barely anything about CAR T cell therapy. All I knew is that I wanted to do it. And then in 2018, we started with simple development of the facility. I started looking into the FDA documents, into whatever was available. In India, there was hardly anything in terms of guidelines at that time. But we started our journey from 2018. This is, my personal journey in terms of helping with the upgradation of the facility, building the structure startup. It was just me, Dr. Gaurav, and another clinical trial coordinator. And then as you can see, from 2018 to 21, it was all a validation of the facility, development of the facility in terms of, as per what the Government of India, the regulatory bodies dictated, then the SOP development, and finally the approval with the, when we were ready to infuse with the patient. So from barely knowing anything in 2018, in 2022-25, I can at least say that me along with other colleagues are the global top runners for the cell and gene therapy in terms of the R&D, the regulatory, the GMP manufacturing, and we are now able to do, as you will see in other slides, not just CAR T, but so many other cell therapy products. You can skip the slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, next. I think you have the wrong. Next slide. I think this is the wrong presentation, but you can keep on going. This is not the correct presentation, but skip the slides. I'll tell you when to stop. Yeah, so just go back. So as you can see, in 2018-19, we really had nothing. These are the initial photographs of the GMP facility. And this was in 2019 when we inaugurated the facility, the first look out of the GMP rooms. And now, of course, it's much more developed. But this CAR T-cell center was the first R&D clinical and manufacturing center for all cell therapy products. And it was an academic center. And everybody here knows it's very difficult to do something in just a span of 2 years in an academic center when you are really no guidelines or no headway for it. The next slide. So currently we have two different approaches in our center. We also, one is the direct supply of CAR T products to the patient, and then we also act as a center for CAR T cell therapy, where we distribute the CAR T cell therapy products to the different centers. So it's centralized and decentralized and centralized. Next slide, please. Just keep on going. Yeah, just stick on this slide only. So this gives you a pipeline of the current products that we have in our lab. As you see, we have different verticals. We have some products which are in early product development. Then we have some which are between product early stages to preclinical development. Then some which are going to for clinical trials, and then we have some which are now for clinical trial approvals. Yeah, you can skip to the end. I think this is a different presentation. We can skip to the last slide. Yeah, just before this. The one before and the one before. So this is something which we developed very early on during the journey of CAR T-cell therapy. We realized that the most important bottleneck, which is going to be for the next decade, is the lack of young scientists like you, workforce which is going to work in the labs, in the GMP centers, be the manufacturing associate. So we started focusing, me and Dr. Gaurav both, started focusing on developing some platforms, some basic programs where we can help other, not just our center, but the other academic centers also to build up this workforce, which can eventually work in these GMP facilities or cell therapy facilities. And now we have an academic PhD program specifically for cell therapy. We have something which is a fellowship program, but specifically only for MD students. And then we have short-term and long-term workshops and training programs. Next slide. And we also founded in 2023, and it started as a series of workshops. We try to target 100, 120, 100, 200 attendance at the most. A platform which is called Series of Advancements in Cell Therapy. But from 23 to 25, we have now an audience of more than 1,200 delegates, who attended it in 2025. So this conference, this international conference, is purely focused in generating workforce, networking, and it is open to not just academic people, it's academia industry collaboration. I like to work very closely with industry because, like Dr. Radha, I feel the public health is something which is very close to my heart, and I keep on trying to make difference in whatever ways we can. So this conference has become one of the biggest platforms for workforce development in India and Asia Pacific region. And we also have something called as Young Budding Scientist Fellowships or Travel Awards. And if anybody here in the audience is really interested in, we can always fund them. We can always teach them more even in our GMPs as a part of this SAC conference. Next slide, please. So this is 25 and yeah, next slide. So in our CAR T-cell center, I'm sorry, it's a different slide. I had a really cool photo ending with my whole women scientist team, all in their scrubs, red scrubs, but somehow I'm really apologize for for this goof up here. So we focus on cost-effective development of cell therapy products. And what I want to end with is every field in biotechnology is now going towards, is fast tracking at a very, very high speed. So, I mean, there are so many avenues now. There is artificial intelligence, there is in silico work, there are different biotechnological approaches in terms of biosimilars, cell therapy. But what I feel is that something which you do not believe in and you're just getting into it because you have a certain package associated with it, please do not do that, because eventually you will realize that in a certain stage in your life, this is not what you ended up doing. And you better focus on something which drives you. Even if you're not clear about the pathway that you have right now in mind, give it another 2 to 3 years or give it some time and it will come to you. So with that, I think I'll end here. Do we have that video at least? Do we have that video? Yeah, this is a really cool photo, a video of the CAR T cell killing, which probably I thought should fascinate some of the scientists, the young female scientists that we have here. Did it play? Maybe you want to play it again. I heard somebody saying once more. Yeah, can you play it again? So that's the CAR T cell killing the cancerous cell. It's a shortened video of a timed imaging system. But with that, I would really appreciate if there is anybody who wants to, my email is with Sir with Biotech Park, and I think it should be with the college principal also. If any one of you want to reach out for internships, short-term research fellowships, and we are all here to support in whichever way. Thank you so much for all your time.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing not just your experience, but also inspiring us with your vision and wisdom. It is our distinct honor to welcome and recognize an inspiring innovator, Dr. Jyotirmayi Dash. Dr. Jyotirmayi is the founder and CEO of Teralumen Solution Private Limited, India's pioneering company in terahertz technology, established in 2019. A visionary with a PhD in photonics from CSIR CECRI Chennai. She played a key role in setting up India's first terahertz laboratory. Her groundbreaking work includes the development of an intraoperative device that uses terahertz waves and machine learning to detect cancer margin in real time during surgery. With over 30 international publications, 3 patents, and support from leading initiatives like DBT Bairak, DST Nidhi Prayas, and the PFISR Innovation Program, Dr. Jyotirmayi Dash exemplifies the power of translating science into scalable solution for industry and healthcare. I am delighted to announce that the Golden Jubilee Biotech Park's annual Women Entrepreneur Award 2025 goes to Dr. Jyotirmayi Dash, CEO and founder of Teralumen Solution Private Limited. On behalf of Jyotirmayi Dash ma'am, I kindly request Ms. Induja Suresh ma'am to receive the award. With that inspiring recognition, we now come to the formal vote of thanks. May I invite Dr. Sudhakaran Sir, General Manager, Golden Jubilee Biotech Park, to propose the vote of thanks.
Very good evening to all. It's a great privilege to propose the word of thanks for this wonderful event. On behalf of our board, I extend our heartfelt thanks to the chairman, principal, and the management of Ethiraj College for their warm and kind hospitality provided to us. We are very grateful to the management of Ethiraj College for having given us this wonderful auditorium and being our host in conducting this prestigious event. We are very thankful to Dr. Uma Gauri ma'am and Dr. Vidya Lakshmi ma'am for their relentless support, that has paved the way for the smooth conduct of this event. We are indebted to our Honorable Chairman, Professor P.M. Murali sir, who has been our guiding principle in all spheres and leaves no stone unturned, which has made the event a grand success. Thank you, sir, for your support, constant support. Our sincere gratitude and Honorable Vice Chairperson, Dr. R. Nandini Rangaswamy ma'am, and our board members, Dr. Rajesh Kokale sir, Ms. Pallavi Baldev ma'am, Dr. M.D. Nair sir, Mr. Ranganath sir, Ms. Anushira ma'am, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan ma'am, and Mr. Utkarsh Palnikar sir for their valuable suggestion and guidance at all times. Thanks to all our entrepreneurs whose dedication and determination has been the pillar of strength to the park. We express our sincere gratitude to our sponsors, Tysel Biopark. We have Mr. Pungabaran sir, the MD. Thank you, sir, for your support constantly giving. RK Podiatry, Specialty Hospital, SS Kilni Research, Nova Medicament, Microflow, BioNeem Tech, Aranya Bioscience, CMR, and UP Associates. We thank the press in charge, Dr. Vijayalakshmi ma'am from the Ethiraj College, and the press members who have come here and taking the coverage of the event. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Vaishnavi, who has been acting as the role of the master of ceremony for this momentous occasion. And finally, thanks to my team for exhibiting an excellent teamwork which has made this event a grand success. Thank you all once again, and request all of you to enjoy the high tea. Thank you. Wish you a good evening. Thank you. So kindly hold on for a moment. We have memento to be presented to the jury members just for a minute. Yeah, please.
We now request Professor P.M. Murali sir, Chairman of Biotech Park, to do the honors. I now invite Dr. Sheila Sasikumar ma'am to receive the memento. We also invite Sri V.M. Muralidharan sir, Chairman, Ethiraj College sir, and Principal and Secretary to join the dais. Dr. Mahendran sir to receive the memento. Dr. Sriram Raghavan sir to receive the memento.
I kindly request Professor Murali sir to give a memento to our MC today, Ms. Vaishnavi sir.
Thank you. I kindly request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जय गण मंगल नायक जय हे नायक भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 जय
With this, we conclude the award function for the 5th Annual Women Biotech Conclave 2025. We thank each and every one of you for your gracious presence. You are now invited to join us for the high tea. Thank you, sir.